Welcome, everybody, to episode 11 of the Ringside Rewind podcast with Matt and Andre. I am your co host, Tatted Islander, aka Andre, as you guys already know. I'm also here with my other co host, Matt, aka Stunner Matt. And Matt, go ahead and say hello to the wonderful followers and new followers of our podcast today.
What's up, pro wrestling world? Stunner Matt's here. Awesome to be back on episode 11 of the Ringside Rewind podcast. We have a lot to discuss today.
Yes. And before we get all into that, we just want to say thank you to everybody that has supported us on this journey. Matt was out here in Arizona for the SmackDown, and I had a great weekend. I got to meet Trick Williams, got to meet Drew McIntyre. Matt was here with the show with me. And for everybody that's listening to us right now and watching the clips wherever you're at, watching this on YouTube, thank you guys so much. This podcast journey has meant a lot to us. We've grown a lot over just the course of a night. Honestly, I think we started off with our Facebook following at around, Matt, I don't even know. I can't remember them. It was like 300 something. And now I think we're up to like 700 something, almost 1,000.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
we're super close. Everybody that's out there watching this, listening to this, that followed the podcast over the weekend when we were out there in SmackDown. Thank you guys. And I had a fun time, Matt. I hope you had fun. I had a fun time, looking like Jey Uso and taking all the pictures that I had with all the adults and all the kids and men and just everybody. So it was awesome just to be a part of that. And I had a great weekend, man. I hope you had a great weekend.
Oh, I did. It was great. I mean, we saw some shockers on SmackDown that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. The Wrestling Guy Superstore in Phoenix, Arizona. I think that's a phenomenal place. Go check it out, guys, if you haven't been there. And it was a great trip, and I appreciate it. And like I say all the time, we do this because we love pro wrestling. So thank you all for the support, and thank you for the continued support.
Yeah, shout out everyone, man. Appreciate y'all. Go share this, like this. We're gonna try to hit 1,000. When we're at Mania in a month, we're gonna be going ham, trying to get everybody to subscribe to the podcast. And shout out to the haters as well. Thanks for engaging us, engaging with us on the platforms that we're on: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You know where to find us. We're there. You got a hate comment? Go ahead and leave a comment because that's just engagement for us. So appreciate y'all for sticking around, and we're gonna be appearing on your guys' algorithm a lot more. So let's go straight into it.
Let's do it.
Let's go start off with obviously the Raw on 3/9. A lot of stuff happened during that episode, and we started off that show with Seth Rollins and Adam Pearce in the ring, and we saw a plethora of other masked men running around the ring trying to confuse Pearce or the Vision, which the Vision obviously is down to Austin Theory and Logan Paul. But we saw that segment happen. And Matt, what did you think of the whole masked men segment? And on top of that too, what do you think is going to happen with Seth Rollins as we lead up to WrestleMania?
I thought it was really comedic. I mean, it was funny. I mean, it was shocking, right? I thought it was. Seth Rollins hasn't said anything. He's been back since the Elimination Chamber when he attacked Logan Paul, costing him the match. But he hasn't said anything. He hasn't picked up a microphone, and he hasn't spoke to us in the last 2.5 weeks. I mean, maybe tomorrow night he might say something on Raw, but I think it's very funny, and I think it's going somewhere, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm really trying to figure it out. What's this? Now we saw almost 20 masked men in the ring. So where's it going? I don't know, but I'm going to sit back and be a fan. But I think, Adam Pearce was trying to talk some sense into Seth, and I don't think it went through. I mean, the Logan, Austin Theory, I mean, they could carry it, but it's no way like carrying it if Braun or Bronson were there. But I'm going to sit back and be a fan and just hope that they just keep dropping breadcrumbs and build something to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was comedic as well. I saw there was one of the masked men was a lot bigger. I was like, no, there's no way that's Seth Rollins. But no, I thought it was interesting. I'm very intrigued to see where this leads up to, though. How do you fit Seth Rollins into the card? How do you fit Logan Paul, Austin Theory into the card? Because we've seen them in multiple segments. Obviously the stuff that's been going with Seth, right? And then on top of that too, with the Vision, the stuff that's been going on with the Usos. And the week prior to that, okay, we thought, could we see the Usos versus the Vision for the tag titles? And obviously, we're going to lead into this later on. But now we see the Usos getting involved with Punk and potentially that Roman Punk match, which for sure is going to be a night two. There's no way it's going to be a night one. But nonetheless, I'm very intrigued to see what happens with the storyline and what happens. Paul Heyman's out. So what do we do from here?
Or is he out? Paul Heyman always has a plan. And I said this a couple weeks ago. Seth Rollins always has plan B. So I don't know where this is going to go. But like I said, I'm just going to sit back and be a fan. And you know what's funny? The segments aren't no more than 10 minutes. I mean, they're quick segments. It opened up the show last week, and it was quick. Adam Pearce called him out. Seth showed up. All the masked men got in the ring. Vision came down. They did the little scramble thing, the little duck, duck, goose game in the ring. Seth disappeared. So it's just very, very interesting to see how they carry this into WrestleMania. But remember, folks, Seth always has a plan B. He's an architect. He's a visionary. He's a revolutionary. It's going to be great to see.
Absolutely. And hopefully we see more of that heading into tomorrow, Monday Night Raw, 316 day in San Antonio, Texas. We're down a month. We've got a month to crunch in all this storyline and what's going to happen and what's going to lead up to night one or night two. So let's move on to the next segment. And let's first talk about the gauntlet match for the IC title, the number one contenders match. And we saw Bayley come out victorious. She's going to be facing AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I can honestly see AJ retaining this and possibly AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch, running it back one more time at WrestleMania. Or who knows, maybe Becky gets involved in this match and then costs Bayley the match. It ends up being a no contest. And then we maybe see a triple threat, because I do feel like Bayley is owed a WrestleMania match, considering she was written off for Becky's return last year at Mania. So I can see it being a triple threat match in all honesty. So Matt, what do you think of this match leading up to tomorrow, and what possibly could be the match looking for WrestleMania?
I 100% agree with you, and I'll tell you why. Because you're right. Bayley was written off for Becky to come back. Becky attacked Bayley, costing her that tag team title match with Lara at WrestleMania 41 last year. Remember? And then Becky came and joined with Lara, and they run the tag titles, and they lost them the night after to the Judgment Day. So you're right. I think it's leading to a triple threat. Tomorrow night on Raw, I think AJ's going to maintain the IC title. I think Becky's going to be there. I think Shenanigans is going to go down. And then I think it's going to lead to a triple threat between those three women at WrestleMania. So I actually 100% agree. And we say it all the time. Long-term storytelling, right? All they have to do is just show a vignette of Becky attacking Bayley last year to remind everybody, and it just tells the story all over again. So I think you're right. I think that's where it's going to go. And I think those three ladies are going to put on a hell of a show, probably for night one. That's where I could see they putting the IC title for the women. And I look forward to seeing it.
Yep. And that pretty much sums it up. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. The fact that I can kind of predict it, I don't know. There's a lot. And I'm like, okay, we didn't see Becky last week.
She's been tweeting.
We lost. She's been tweeting. She's been active on social media, but she's going to definitely, I think, make her appearance and do something to lead up to a match at WrestleMania. So let's go on, move on to the next one. And the biggest one that we've all been waiting for, and it's finally happened. Finn Balor officially getting kicked out, stomped out, attacked by the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day finally turning against Finn after their confrontation with Dominic Mysterio. And Matt, I'm so glad we're finally seeing Finn getting out of the Judgment Day, getting back into being a babyface, because he's a lot better as a babyface, in my opinion. This is obviously going to lead up to a match with Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, or who knows, maybe JD gets involved somehow, and maybe Dominic Mysterio he's down the new leader per se for Judgment Day. But we finally see the original members out of the Judgment Day. I mean, if you really think about it, obviously Edge started it off, and then he put Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest into that storyline, which then Damian Rhea obviously recruited Finn. And so kind of that 4 is like the most significant members of that group. And now it's kind of being led by this new rebellion of Dom, JD, Raquel, Roxanne. Did I say Liv? I can't remember if I did say Liv or not.
No,
Liv.
but you're right.
Liv, obviously. But yeah, so Matt, I think we see this as a night 1 match. They announced obviously the meet and greets at WWE World in the Las Vegas Convention Center, and Finn's appearing on Sunday, which makes me believe that the Finn Dominic Mysterio match is probably going to happen Saturday night. Matt, what do you think of this finally happening? I know it's been a long way. We've been talking about it, and we're finally here, a month out from WrestleMania. What are your thoughts?
Thank God. I'm ready for it. You know, I'm ready for a babyface Finn. We kind of saw that in Ireland. Then they pulled it back to have him go against Punk in Chicago. I think just to get Punk on the card, that's why they did something like that, you know, for the hometown hero. But it's about time. We've been talking about this for a long time. And the Judgment Day thing just keeps carrying on week over week over week. And it wasn't going anywhere. You know, during the holiday times, we had Dom out, JD got hurt, and it just kept dragging on and on and on. But now we got a story. And I hope they conclude this tomorrow night on Raw. I hope they make it official somehow between these two guys for the IC title. And I hope it's not just a wrestling match. We got to have something else. We got to have some kind of stipulation. We got to have whether or not the Demon shows up and we get Demon Finn, which might be too predictable, right? But whether or not we get the Demon Finn, but something besides just the IC title wrestling match. It's got to be a ladder match. It's got to be a no holds barred match. It's got to be something interesting. But I think we're going to get it tomorrow finalized on Raw.
Remember,
and I think Finn's the one that calls him out.
Dominic Mysterio lost that IC title, so he no longer has it. He's just
that's right. That's right. Excuse me. That's right. He's not an IC champion. Benta is.
But I do agree with you. I hope that we do see some sort of stipulation instead of just a regular one-on-one match. I hope it's a street fight, something involved, because I think with the build-up of the implosion of Judgment Day, well, more specifically, Finn being booted out of Judgment Day, because obviously we've seen the other members of the Judgment Day question Finn's decisions, question Finn as a leader and his authority. So I hope it just is a lot more than just a regular one-on-one match. I want to see weapons get involved. I want to see finally that payoff after we've been building it for so long, finally happen at WrestleMania.
Then let's do a no DQ. Dominic always cheats, right? He always gets the ring bell hammer. He always uses the chair. He always has Roxanne gets involved. Raquel gets involved. And it's the same thing. And I understand that's dirty Dom, right? He's dirty. That's how he's going to win. He's sneaky. But let's make it something else. Let's do a stipulation. You know, I think they've always teased us with Dominic's hair. Let's do a hair match. Let's do something like that where Finn has to give up something if he loses. And if Dom loses, he's got to shave his head or something like that. Let's make it more interesting. Or a ladder match, a street fight. It's got to be something like that. And I said earlier, I think it gets finalized tomorrow on Raw. And I think Finn Balor's the one that calls him out. Finn's going to show up tomorrow pissed off about what happened. I think he's going to call him out and say, let's do it at WrestleMania, but let's do this.
I'm just excited to be at WrestleMania and finally be a part of that glorious entrance that he possesses, Finn Balor. So I'm excited for that. But nonetheless, yes, I hope we do see something a lot more with just more than just a regular match. And so with that being said, let's go on and move on to the next piece of news, unless you have anything else to add to that, Matt. I want to talk about the Usos and CM Punk.
Yes.
And we saw in the beginning, you know, when they were doing that interview backstage and they were asked, hey, you got anything to say about Punk? What was about his comments? And Jimmy was like, no, you know what? We got something to say. And so you saw later that night that the Usos came out and confronted Punk and demanded for him to be apologetic and have an apology ready for them. And just when we thought, Punk said, I'm sorry to both of them. He tells them, I'm sorry that you guys have been manipulated by Roman Reigns this whole entire time. The fact that he's got you brainwashed, the fact that he's treated you guys like crap.
Yes.
And he still hasn't apologize to you guys. He still hasn't been accountable for his actions, the way that he treated you guys. And we saw that the Usos were very defensive against CM Punk. We saw him obviously call them out, Punk, to the Usos. And we finally saw some action, a little physical. Got a little physical. We saw Jimmy punch CM Punk. CM Punk fell back. They left the ring. And, I can't help but think, are we getting Bloodline again? Is this going to be Bloodline rules come WrestleMania? Do we see The Rock? We saw the Usos get involved, and like you were saying last episode, Matt, anytime you mention and call out Roman Reigns and mention his family, you're going to get not only just Roman, but you're going to get the backup of his family. You saw the Usos happen this week or this past week. Who knows? I mean, does the final boss get involved? We can only hope, right? A lot of people are like, oh, don't involve The Rock. I want to see The Rock. I'll be completely blunt with you. I think anything The Rock is involved in, it just gains way more views. And I know WWE is desperate for the tickets selling out, having this be the big show. I mean, it's WrestleMania in Vegas, second year in a row. And I do feel like as fans, we deserve some sort of, I guess, payoff and redemption for what happened last year, because The Rock wasn't involved with the Cena heel turn, and honestly made the Cena heel turn a lot less significant than what it's supposed to be, when it was supposed to be. So I really hope that maybe we see the involvement of the final boss. But Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this segment because this is really good. I can't wait for Monday Night Raw tomorrow because we're going to see Roman Reigns return. What happens? And do we also hear him finally make a comment about Larry, CM Punk's dog, after we saw CM Punk make that comment about his father?
I think at this point, they're going to do anything to draw heat. But that whole segment last week with the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, and CM Punk in the ring, I had the goosebumps. I was feeling the goosebumps. It was a very dramatic. The last two Monday Night Raws have ended with no physical. Well, I guess he got punched, right? But with no wrestling match. It ended with that drama, soap opera, leave you on the edge of your seat wanting more. I can't believe the show just ended type thing. With Punk and Roman the week before, and then last week with the Usos and Punk. And I guess, like you said, he got punched. And that punch looked like it connected. It looked more like that wasn't a wrestling punch that he sold. It looked like he connected. And I know that was probably by accident too, but it looked like he took a nice little punch to the jaw. But tomorrow night, it's going to be something to see. That is must-see television, folks. I suggest set your recorders, do what you can to see what Roman's going to say and have to say. And I said it last week. I hope this is leading to Final Boss. And I hope The Rock somehow has something to say about this. Punk said a lot of mean things, and he was getting booed. It was going back and forth. That crowd last week in Seattle, they were booing and they were cheering. And here's the thing. Just the other night when we were on SmackDown, one thing I noticed there in the arena, they would show a picture of Punk, and the crowd was boo, boo. They're cheering and booing. I don't know which way to go with this. Like I said, you don't need a heel with this match. You don't need a bad guy versus a good guy like we needed in Cody and Randy. What we needed was exactly what they're giving us, long-term storytelling with that personal touch that everybody gets pissed off, right? Everybody gets mad when you talk about their family. Everybody gets mad when you say stuff about if their dog passed away and he makes a comment about that. That's going to piss him off, right? And I think that's what's going to happen. But the final boss has to say something. Punk even dug deeper last week with the Usos, but he was telling the truth. I'll give credit to Punk. Everything he was saying was truthful. It wasn't just to be a jerk to the Usos. Andre, he was telling them the truth. Roman treated him like crap when they were in the bloodline. They were his little stooges. Same thing with Solo when they brought Solo up. He was the enforcer of the bloodline. But he was their little stooge. They did everything this man said. Then they broke away and they became something, right? When they got out of Roman shadows. And then think about this long-term storytelling. back before Survivor Series, when they lost, Roman said to the Usos at I think it was WrestlePalooza, Roman said to the Usos, I don't want to see you guys till after Thanksgiving. He still treats them bad. So everything Punk has said is true. And he never apologized to Cody about the stuff he said about Dusty. He said stuff about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. He's never apologized. Roman's never apologized for anything. And I'm a Roman Reigns fan. I'm a tribal chief guy. I'll acknowledge him. But everything Punk said was truthful. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. This is fireworks, guys. Make sure you stay tuned to this. And I think we might see the final boss. Not tomorrow on Raw, but I think the final boss is going to have something to say. He's going to have to say something.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is my soap opera. This is my telenovela. You know what I'm saying? This is my fireworks. You know, I love the fact that we're finally seeing these different layers from both of them and the Usos. You know, who else could possibly get involved in this? But we can't help but think, does this sprout up and bring up The Rock? The thing is, now with WrestleMania, it's hard to not think of, okay, well, does The Rock get involved in something? And a lot of people in the comments I've been seeing in our engagement, oh, forget about The Rock. Rock's not going to get involved. You never know, So I want to make one thing clear, and that's be open to the possibility of anything happening.
Yes.
So that's what pro wrestling is about. Pro wrestling is about ideas. No matter how crazy they may seem, you never know. And the question at the end of the day is, are you not entertained? Absolutely, I'm entertained, and I want more fireworks to get involved. And so, with that being said, Matt, give any additional comments to what's happening with this storyline?
To echo what you just said, bro, no matter how people feel about The Rock, about what happened last year with the John Cena turn and the Travis Scott stuff, no matter what and how the final boss played a role in it, and then all of a sudden he was gone, and we haven't seen The Rock on TV since Elimination Chamber last year, right? So no matter what people think about the final boss or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, when he's there, when he's involved, hate him or love him or cheer him or boo him, we are all on the edge of our seat to see what he does. And that's been since the Attitude Era. He has gripped audiences for almost 30 years. Actually, I think this year is 30 years. 1996 is when he made his debut at Survivor Series. And he still has entertained and gripped people. He's the most followed man on the planet. He's a Hollywood icon. Everywhere he goes, he just has people just attract to him. That electricity that he talks about. And I honestly think he's going to have to say something. I hope he does. But The Rock makes a big, big, big deal in this story. And like I said, this story is long-term storytelling at its best. It could lead to WrestleMania 43. So let's just sit back and enjoy it and watch it. They got the best people telling it. Tomorrow night's going to be fireworks. And every Monday night that Roman's there, it's going to be really good. And I don't think Punk's going to back down. Punk's not going to go heel. He's not going to go out there and turn into a bad guy. I think Punk's just going to tell us what everybody is kind of thinking about Roman.
I completely agree with you. Nonetheless, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow at Monday Night Raw. We've got a big one tomorrow with it being 316 day. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next show, obviously, which is SmackDown. That was on Friday. Matt, you and I were both there. Like I said, great show. We got to see, obviously, Randy Orton turn heel against Cody. We'll get that here. We'll get there in a second because there's some other piece of news I want to get to first. And that is Drew McIntyre quitting WWE at first, right? Which, by the way, Drew McIntyre, great guy. Met him on Friday. I love the fact that I was able to get to meet him because WWE World, expensive. Trick Williams, I got to meet him. I didn't want to pay for those, And so shout out to WWE for holding some free meet and greets up in the Phoenix area. So Drew McIntyre quitting WWE. We saw that segment happen with Nick Aldis. He calls on Nick Aldis. He gets involved. And then we saw Jacob Fatu come out and confront Drew McIntyre. That's when Drew McIntyre says, you know what? With all you guys, I'm tired of it. I quit. Leaves the ring. And from there, we didn't see him until the Jacob Fatu versus Trick Williams match. And so, Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this whole Drew McIntyre situation. Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, WrestleMania 42. I'm thinking that we get this match. Obviously, it's more clear than ever. I think that we're going to get this match. Actually, I would love for it to be have some sort of stipulation added onto it. You know, it's a very brutal, hard hitting match that I can see happening. And these are because these are two very hard hitting men, hard hitting wrestlers. And so, Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this.
How many times is this guy going to quit? He quits all the time. I'm a Drew McIntyre guy. I had the honor of meeting Drew McIntyre outside of an arena a couple years ago back on a Monday Night Raw. I was sitting in my car enjoying some In-N-Out, and he literally pulled up right next to me. So he's a really nice guy outside of his character, and I was able to talk with him for a few minutes and get a photo with him. But he's a really good guy outside the character. I don't know. Nick Aldis, before the contract signing, announced that, Drew, you want to quit? You want to play these games? Next week on SmackDown in North Carolina, you will get Jacob Fatu one-on-one. So we're going to see something go down. A match has been made by the general manager for next week or for Friday night here in Raleigh, North Carolina. But I think it's going to continue into WrestleMania. It's got to. So I don't know how they're going to play that out. Stay tuned to SmackDown this Friday night to see. But those two are booked in a match this Friday night. But Drew McIntyre, he does this all the time. We got to get him back to the title scene, right? They had to remove him. We had to throw Cody back in there, which I love that he tells us that. He said that on Friday. You had to do it for Cody, the corporate guy. You're a corporate guy. We had to have Cody. Cody. He's telling the truth. He's not lying. I think WWE wanted Cody Rhodes, right? And Drew beat Cody in 3 stages of hell on the first SmackDown in January, Andre. And Cody lost the Royal Rumble, thanks to Drew, though. Cody lost the Elimination Chamber, thanks to Drew, but he lost. And it's pro wrestling. You take the 1, 2, 3, however you get it, or if you get tossed over at the Royal Rumble, you're out. And somehow Nick Aldis gave it back to Cody, and look where we're at. And I think everybody's excited for what's going to happen with Cody and Randy, but Drew's telling the truth. So now we have Drew and Jacob in a mid-card situation. That's probably going to be the main event on SmackDown. That confrontation is probably going to be with them. And a mid-card situation probably at WrestleMania. But it's supposed to be good. I think we could see maybe another Las Vegas street fight deal with them. Drew McIntyre had one last year with Damian Priest, and it was a really good match. So maybe like a Sin City street fight or something like that. And I think that's where they're going to go with it.
Yeah, I think the matchup on Friday, I can honestly see it happening to where one of the two is walking out to make their entrance, and then the other one ambushes them, and then we don't officially get that match in the ring. They just fight across the arena, kind of how it's been in the past, right? With Cody and Jacob, I think they had that Saturday night's main event,
and Drew got involved.
Drew got involved, obviously, but I think we see some sort of match.
You're right. You're probably right.
I can see that happening, and then them officially booking that match for WrestleMania. But who am I? I'm not a booker. I'm not a producer for the match.
No, but you're right.
But it could happen. I can see it happening. I mean, it's like I said, it's been too predictable, man. WWE got to do something, man. Come on, like let's make it a little less predictable. Like if I'm confident in some of this predictions, like that's saying something. So, but no, I can see that happening on Friday. Nonetheless, I like seeing both of them wrestle. They have honestly great chemistry. They have Drew McIntyre is such a great storyteller. Like we saw the storytelling that he did with Punk in that Hell in a Cell a couple years ago. Bad Blood. Great, honestly, one of the best matches in recent memory. And so this is gonna be good as it heats up into WrestleMania. I'm really looking forward to this match. And we'll see where we go from there.
And as you mentioned, that Hell in the Cell with him and Punk at Bad Blood a couple years ago, that's probably the second best Hell in the Cell I've ever seen. And I've seen every single one of them. The first one, of course, got to give a shout out to Undertaker and Mankind, King of the Ring 1998, because that was the first time we've ever seen anything like that, and where somebody's getting thrown off a 30-foot cell, right? But Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, great, awesome, loved it, 100% storytelling.
Yes, sir. And so we'll see what happens on Friday, if my prediction's right or not. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the MFTs versus White Six. We saw a tag match happen between the two. The Wyatt Six pull off the win. They get their lantern back momentarily before Tama Tonga steals it back. And I think we see something happen with WrestleMania, like one final showdown. But oh my gosh, the storyline is just dragging at this point. I
Yes.
enjoyed the match. Don't get me wrong, but we got to think of something else. Like just at that point, I'm not gonna lie to you. I really was hoping that they get the lantern back, so we just be done with it. But this is just dragging. I don't know about you. Obviously, we sat not too far away from each other on the show on Friday, but from my section where I was sitting, my section was over. They weren't really that invested. Um, Obviously, we saw the lantern get stolen back, but I'm at a point where I'm like, we got to think of something else different because I feel like the storyline should have ended a while ago. The storyline should have ended. I don't know when, but it should have ended a while ago. It should not have. It should not be dragging on this long, and then into April. So, Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this.
We got to do something quick, and I'll tell you why. Because the number one contenders are Damian Priest and R-Truth, and they're the number one contenders for the tag titles against the MFTs. So we got to do something quick. And I agree with you. This lantern thing, I know it's the spirit of Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. I know that's what gives Uncle Howdy his powers. That lantern gives the Wyatt Six their spiritual powers. But it's just, yeah, we're now weeks and weeks into this, and we need to do something quick. And what I'm thinking is let's do a ladder match or something. Put the lantern at the top. Whoever gets up there grabs it. Let's do a 4-way ladder match where you have 4 of the MFTs versus the 4 Wyatt Sixes. Throw the lantern on the top, climb up to whoever gets it, something like that. Because, the tag titles we know are not going to be defended because the number one contenders are R-Truth and Damian Priest, which put on a really cool match on SmackDown. They were very comedic against the Los Garzas. And R-Truth's just always funny anyway. But because they're number one contenders and the MFTs have the titles, that's going to be the tag match, right? And I don't see that happening at WrestleMania. I could probably see that happening on a SmackDown episode, but maybe prior to WrestleMania. I just don't think that's going to fit on the card, either on night 1 or night 2. But the lantern thing with the Wyatt Sixes, 100% agree to you. We need to put this to rest soon and move on.
Couldn't have said it any better. So move on because I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm done. I want to talk about the heel turn of Randy Orton.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes. Finally, we saw something happen. We saw, we said last week something needed to happen. Somebody needed to turn heel. Matt, you and I were both there.
Yes.
Randy Orton, tremendous entrance. Everybody's singing his entrance. Cody Rhodes, I hear nothing but boos. And it was a mixed crowd. Don't get me wrong. There was cheers. There was boos. It's Cody Rhodes. But with this heel turn of Randy, I said I personally wanted Randy to go heel because we saw how in the past he could be really good as a heel. But I think WWE made a mistake turning him heel. I think they should have turned Cody heel.
Yes.
And here's why. Cody's already getting booed. Why not? And here's the thing. It's genuine heat because they don't want to see him as champion. He lost the Royal Rumble and he lost the Elimination Chamber. And what does he do? He gets
just like match. Drew said.
He gets a match and he wins the title back, right? And in Jacob's eyes, he made it even because he helped Drew win the initial title back in January. And then this time around, he helped Cody. So I really think that WWE should have made Cody the heel. One, it makes sense right now at this point of time to have him as a heel. He's already getting booed anyways. I'm me as well. I'm done seeing him as champion. I don't want to see him as champion. This is why I also want Randy to also be the person that defeats him at WrestleMania, more than likely night 1. And hopefully we see a stipulation with that match as well.
Yes.
But I really do hope that he wins that 15th at WrestleMania so we can bear witness to that. And on top of that too, Cody turning as a heel would have been a lot bigger in terms of drama, a lot bigger in terms of fireworks, because of the fact that I think we kind of knew that Randy was going to turn heel. We had seen him in previous segments dating back to even just as a couple years ago. him eyeing the belt, him eyeing the title as he was around Cody, when he was helping out Cody just this past year, right? And so finally, I really do think I'm glad this is happening. Like I said, I'm happy that nonetheless Randy is a heel. I think it's very enjoyable to see him as a heel. And maybe we get a punt kick and write Cody off until maybe SummerSlam later this year, right? To take out Cody, to come out of the picture, give the fans a breather, when it comes to seeing Cody on screen, right? But I really would have liked to see Cody turn heel this past Friday rather than Randy. Happy that Randy obviously got that heel turn and that match is official. But we heard the crowd. The crowd was cheering for Randy. The crowd was cheering for one more time to hit Cody's head against the steel steps when he was just laying there, right? So I think WWE made a mistake. I think we should have turned Cody heel.
What's the perfect time? I have a lot to say, brother, and a lot to digest on what you just said. It was the perfect time to do it if you were going to do it. And I'm actually glad I took the time to go out to Phoenix and actually see that live. Orton, for 75% of his career, has been the bad guy. He's been the Viper. He's been the legend killer, taking out legends from the time he came in. Evolution with Triple H and Ric Flair and Batista. He was always the heel Orton. Through the late 2000s, early 2010s, he was heel Orton in Legacy, feuding with Triple H, taking out the McMahons. I remember when he punted Mr. McMahon, punted Shane, vintage Randy Orton DDT on Stephanie. Then he licked her face in front of Triple H, leading to their WrestleMania moment. So much that Orton, he's been the bad guy. And then he got hurt. He's getting older. Like I said, on April 1st, Randy Orton will be 46 years old. He's the 14-time champion. Nobody else on the roster is close to beating John Cena. He is tied right now with Triple H, who's officially retired and will never wrestle again. Okay? Orton is going for 15, and I thought it would make sense. Just leave him as the babyface. Leave him as the good guy looking for 15. And I've said it countless times on our show. I think Orton will get 18 and be the one to induct John Cena. That's my prediction. You could still do that as a heel, I guess, because you could turn him anytime. But my prediction is whoever wins 18 will induct the greatest of all time, John Cena, into the WWE Hall of Fame. And that's what Cena said. I want to win 17 to shake to the hand of the man who wins 18. There is nobody even close. Ric Flair is next at 16. Then 17, Cena. Then Orton. If he wins it, I think he's the one that's closest to getting it, bro. Nobody else is close. So leave him as a babyface and turn Cody. And I think you're right. It would have been more fireworks. And that crowd in Phoenix, like I said, I'm glad I heard that live because they were booing as he was beating him up. And then he shoved Jelly Roll down to get more heat. I thought that was funny. Shoved that guy down. And then when he ran through the crowd, I was there. I saw him as he was running. The camera didn't show. And I was like, there, he came back. He picked up the chair. Boom, Concerto against the steps, and everybody in Phoenix chanting, one more time, one more time. It would have been the right time to turn our babyface, our quarterback one, to be the bad guy and attack Orton. I wish they would have reversed it. Would have been more interesting to see the mentee turn on the mentor, and that would have been cool. But now we got an evil Orton. We got the Viper. We got the vicious Randy Orton back. So the road to WrestleMania is going to heat up. Let's see how Cody responds this Friday night. Let's see where they take it. I hope it's a stipulation. I would love to see those two in a Hell in a Cell. I would love for Cody to come back like that. He's going to be pissed off. He's going to be hurt. And remember the last thing Cody said to him before Randy signed and then went to hug him and then smashed his head on the table and then low blowed him? He said this to him. He's like, I love you, man. That bell rings. It's different. But right here, I love you. And Orton signed the contract, then smashed his head on the table. So the last thing Cody said to Orton was, I love you. And then it happened. So let's see where it goes. It was cool to see live. I was really happy to see it. I wished it would have been the other way. And the one last thing I want to say, I should have caught it. I was sitting next to my wife and she made a comment. And I want to share this. Earlier in the night when Orton was talking to Jelly Roll, he was wearing the blue RKO shirt. And I actually purchased that shirt. I really like that shirt. It was the RKO Viper shirt and it was blue. And he was wearing it. He hugged Jelly Roll, thanked him for being there. Then when he came out, he was wearing the black one. So it's those little breadcrumbs that I missed on picking up on that, but my wife noticed it, and I thought that was really cool.
He turned to the dark side.
That's right.
I wish it was Cody though.
I do too.
Like I said, the way that WWE has been with their creative, it's been a bit questionable. Because like I said, I get that Cody's your champion. I get Cody's your corporate, baby face, your next John Cena if you really want to go that route. But you got to capitalize on these things, man. Within the last couple of years, Cody's been champion 3 times, right? And obviously we know Cody's status. We know his platform. He hosts a podcast. He's one of the top most consistent people on the WWE shop when it comes down to selling merchandise, right? But the thing is, when Randy comes out, let's say he makes his entrance this Friday, or obviously for sure WrestleMania, he's gonna get more cheers than ever. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I see it happening to where he's the baby face because the crowd is reacting like we want Randy. Cody's the heel. Cody should have been the heel, and it would have made sense for him to be the heel. And like I said, I'm just really, like I said, love the fact that Randy is a heel again because we know how lethal and deadly he is as a heel. And I really do hope that he punt kicks Cody to write him off but this would have been the perfect timing. You made a great analogy last week with the Star Wars metaphor, this would have been perfect. It would have made the most sense for Cody to turn heel. So.
And you know what? I mean, you can't do it now, right? You can't retract it. We're going to know that Orton's going to go in as the bad guy. But Cody is just, his road to WrestleMania the last 3 years have been the same. It was with Roman at 40. And then we saw what happened there. Cody crybabies cried. And we got that. Then The Rock came and he interfered in that. Last year, he got screwed by Cena for 41. Got kicked, got betrayed by John Cena. And then just the Friday night on SmackDown. So it's repetitive. The last 3 years, the last 3 WrestleManias, he's headlined, five main events? Because he was in night 2 or night 1 for Bloodlines Rules with The Rock. So, and the year before, for WrestleMania 39, he was against Roman too and lost. So we're still seeing that we're on the Cody Rhodes bandwagon, but I wish they would have done it different. I really wish they would, but it was great to see live. I'm happy to see the Viper back. And that's the thing with Orton. He doesn't have to be the good guy or the bad guy. He's the Viper. Kind of like Stone Cold. I'll compare it to Austin. Stone Cold didn't have to be a good guy or a bad guy. He was the rattlesnake. You just couldn't trust him. And he didn't trust anybody. And he wasn't a heel. He wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't a good guy. He was just Stone Cold. And that's how I kind of look at Orton over the last maybe 15, 20 years of his career. He doesn't have to be a bad guy or a good guy. He's just Randy Orton. He's gonna RKO you, whether or not he likes you or not. And then he's going to be your friend and talk to you backstage. That's why it's RKO anybody, right? Strike first is his motto or his motto. Strike first. Vipers strike first. Same thing with a rattlesnake. You hear the snake, zzz, and then boom, it strikes. Like Stone Cold. You heard the glass break. Austin was there. So it's going to be fun to see WrestleMania Night 1, definitely. And I hope it's a stipulation. Hell in the Cell. I'm voting for Hell in the Cell.
I agree. I saw rumors that it could be Hell in a Cell. I really hope it is. Just to have something different. I don't want to just a regular one-on-one match. Just throw something in there that I haven't seen personally, because I've never seen a Hell in a Cell live before.
They're awesome, bro.
So I would love to see that happen. But nonetheless, we're very intrigued to see what happens on Friday, whether that's Cody leading a segment, Randy leading a segment, or both of them be getting involved in a segment, and just to intensify the lead up to WrestleMania. So nonetheless, we've got a lot to look forward to. And one of those things that we're going to be looking forward to is tomorrow, because tomorrow is 316 day. 316 day means 316, obviously 31% off and 31.6% off at the the WWE shop. So go ahead and get your merch now. Big sale happening. But tomorrow, could we see and hear the glass break? and Stone Cold making an appearance. I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to do so. It's in San Antonio, Texas. I have a feeling it's going to be. They haven't announced anything yet. I want it to be surprised just as much as you do, Matt. And I hope this happens. I want to see Stone Cold, whether that's for him to just say happy 316 day, something, or who knows, maybe getting involved in a storyline. We do know that he's involved in that meet and greet on WrestleMania weekend. Maybe we see him get involved in something. But nonetheless, 316 day. Brock is obviously returning. Roman Reigns is returning. We see original El Grande Americano versus the new El Grande Americano tomorrow, as well as the number one contender match for the women's IC title, Bayley versus AJ Lee. Matt, do you have anything to add on to that?
Of course, bro. Stone Cold Steve Austin is my childhood hero. The rattlesnake is the reason that I love pro wrestling. And I think there is hundreds and millions of fans out there that would agree with me. And I made a comment to you on Friday when we were in Phoenix walking for SmackDown. I said, you ever notice wrestling's past and wrestling's future? Stone Cold, they're still wearing Stone Cold shirts, even though he hasn't been on TV in years. He hasn't had matches in years. And I know he did that thing with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 38, but it wasn't the rattlesnake. It was like, an Insight promo type match with Kevin Owens, even though it was really good. But think about that. Stone Cold has captured the audience and has changed the sport. And like I said, that's my childhood hero. I really hope that we see him tomorrow. Stone Cold has not been on Raw in 5 years. And the last time he was on Raw was for 316 day of 2020 in an empty arena during the COVID pandemic. And of course, he had a funny segment with Becky Lynch and the Street Profits, and he stunned them. And then he stunned Byron Saxton drinking beer. But there was no arena. There was no pop. And then we saw him come back last year for WrestleMania 41 to announce the attendance. But no stunner, no nothing. But that was still the loudest pop of the night when that glass broke. It was bigger than John Cena winning 17. And I said that to you. I was like, listen to that. It was different. That pop, boom, and then that excitement. So I hope tomorrow night the people in San Antonio get a treat. I want to be surprised, WWE. Do not announce it. Just let him show up. Let him be the rattlesnake. Let him come down, whether or not he's driving a four-wheeler or he walks to the ring doing the BMF walk, the talk. Just let him be Stone Cold. Let him do something. Like I said, whether or not he comes in just to welcome us to Monday Night Raw and drink a beer with the crowd and then somebody say something and we see the stunner or we don't, just let him show up. And then with Roman, 100% ready for the Tribal Chief. Monday Night Raw is going to be good. Live in San Antonio. I wished I was there.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. We are getting very close as each day goes by to WrestleMania 42. We cannot wait to be in Vegas, interact with everybody else, and just be a part of that atmosphere like we did last year. I can't wait. I'm excited. We've got a month, and so this month's going to fly by, and I'm really looking forward to everything just heating up as we get closer. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening to us every week. Those who comment, engage with us every single time we post, we see you. I read all the comments. We all read all the comments, and we're very active in the feedback that is given to us. And so with that being said, thank you guys a lot. Like, share, subscribe, do what you got to do. Let's help this channel grow. For those of you who are watching this that are new, that we met over this past weekend, thank you guys as well. Appreciate you guys for engaging with us, having the time to talk to us, talk wrestling, because this is what we love to do. And we can't wait to give you guys more content as we get closer to WrestleMania. So, Matt.
30 days to go, guys. I can't believe it. We are actually, 31 days to go to night one of WrestleMania. It is heating up. We only got a few Monday Night Raws left, a few more SmackDowns. The storylines are getting interesting. It's going to be a fun time. Once again, thank you. I can't echo Andre enough by saying thank you guys for following the Ringside Rewind podcast. Please continue to share us, like us, let us know any feedback. We're always here, and we appreciate it. And we look forward to next week for episode 12.
Yes, sir. Episode 12 is on the way. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.